I was lying on a hospital bed, ready to give my kidney to save his mother's life, when the door opened and my husband walked in holding another woman's hand. He looked at me like I was the mistake. Before we begin, if you love emotional, shocking, real lifestyle drama stories, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment where you're watching from. Your support keeps these stories coming. The beeping of the heart monitor was too steady for how chaotic my thoughts were. Hospitals have a smell you never forget, antiseptic, and fear mixed together. I lay there staring at the ceiling tiles, counting the tiny cracks between them like they were seconds left of the life I knew. My name is Elena Hart. At that moment, I believed I was doing the bravest thing a wife could do. I was about to give my kidney to my mother-in-law 3 months earlier. None of this was in my plans. 3 months earlier, I was just a woman trying to keep her marriage together with duct tape and hope. "Are you sure you want to proceed?" the nurse asked softly, adjusting the IV line. Her name tag read, Maria. Her voice was gentle, but practiced, the kind of gentle that comes from seeing too many people change their minds too late. I turned my head toward her. "Yes," I said. My throat felt like sandpaper. "She needs it." What I didn't say was, I need this to mean something. Because when you spend 6 years loving a man who slowly stops seeing you, you start trying to earn your place in ways that hurt. Marcus used to look at me like I was the answer to every question. Back when we met, I was a junior architect working late nights in a glass building downtown. He used to bring me coffee at 9 p.m. like clockwork. Not because I asked, because he paid attention. "You make buildings feel alive," he once said, sitting across from my desk pretending to read blueprints upside down. I laughed. "You make compliments sound rehearsed." I practiced. He admitted. "We were easy, then effortless, or maybe we were just new." His mother, Diane, wasn't easy. From day one, she measured me like fabric she didn't trust. To independent. To opinionated. Not traditional enough. Not soft enough. Not from the right kind of family. "She's not wife material," she told Marcus once, not knowing. I stood in the hallway holding a bowl of soup I made from scratch. He defended me back then. Bath stopped, somewhere around year 3. Not suddenly. Quietly. Like lights dimming instead of turning off. When Diane's kidneys began failing, everything shifted. Marcus became a full-time son again. Calls at 2 a.m. Emergency drives. Medication lists taped to the fridge. Financial strain. Emotional exhaustion. I stood beside him. Through all of it, I drove, I cooked, I scheduled, I researched specialists. I argued with insurance companies. I learned medical terms I never wanted to know. I was there. But presence doesn't always equal appreciation. Sometimes it just becomes expectation. The transplant list was long, too long. The doctor explained survival probabilities in careful tones, like someone handling glass. Diane needed a match, and soon, family members were tested. First. Marcus wasn't compatible. His brother wasn't either. Distant relatives failed. Screening after screening. Each phone call brought hope. Each follow-up brought disappointment. Got tested quietly. I didn't tell Marcus at first. Not because I wanted praise, but because I didn't want hesitation to talk me out of courage. When the results came back, the doctor looked surprised. "You're a strong match. Strong. The word echoed in my ears all the way to the parking lot. I sat inside my car for 20 minutes gripping the steering wheel. I thought about my marriage, about how distant Marcus had become, how every conversation felt like logistics instead of love. Who's picking up meds, paying which bill, who's visiting the hospital. Tonight, no more jokes. No more random hugs. No more looking at me like I mattered. This could change things. I told myself. This could remind him who I am to this family. When I finally told him, he cried, actually cried, held my face, kissed my forehead. "You'd do that for us," he whispered. "Not for her, for us." I nodded. That was the first time in over a year he held me without distraction. The evaluation process was brutal. Blood work. Scans. Psychological interviews. Asked me 3 separate times if I was being pressured. "No," I said, every time. Which was technically true. Pressure doesn't always come from others. Sometimes it grows inside love. Diane cried when she found out. Real tears, real trembling hands. She grabbed my wrist and said, "I misjudged you. I didn't know whether to feel healed or inspected. Marcus started being kinder after that. Not warmer, kinder. They're single quotes. A difference. Warmth is emotional. Kindness can be guilt. He checked on me more, texted more, but he was still somewhere else in his eyes. Always somewhere else. 2 weeks before surgery, he started coming home late. He said, hospital paperwork. He said, pharmacy delays. He said, I believed him. Because trust doesn't usually break with noise, it breaks quietly, while you're busy being loyal. The morning of the surgery, he kissed my hand and said he'd be right back after speaking with the coordinator. Don't be scared, he told me. I'm right here. Those were the last honest words he said before everything changed. The clock on the wall read 9:12 a.m. My surgery was scheduled for 10 o'clock. Footsteps approached in the hallway. Expected Marcus. I smiled before turning my head. It wasn't him. It was Diane. Standing in the doorway. Crying. Alone. And that was the first moment something felt wrong. Diane wasn't supposed to be out of her room yet. She was scheduled for preparation on the other side of the floor. 2 nurses were supposed to be with her, but she stood alone in my doorway, wrapped in a pale blue robe, her hands shaking so hard the fabric trembled. Her eyes were red, not the polite crying she used when she wanted sympathy. This was different. This was fear. Elena, she whispered. I pushed myself slightly upright. Where's Marcus? I asked. It was automatic. Reflex. Her lips parted, then pressed together. He said he'd be right back. She answered too quickly. The same words. He told me. A strange chill slid down my spine. She stepped closer to the bed for the first time since I'd known her. She looked small. Not sharp. Not commanding. Just old and tired. I need to tell you something before they take us in, she said. My heart monitor ticked faster. Beep. 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 Double quotes. Okay. If you change your mind, she said, voice cracking, I will understand. I blinked at her. I'm not changing my mind. That's not what I mean. She looked back toward the hallway like she was afraid someone might hear. Then she leaned closer. He doesn't deserve this from you. The words didn't land at first. They hovered. Meaningless. Like a sentence in a language I almost understood. What? Her fingers tightened on the bedrail. My son, she said, he doesn't deserve what you're doing. I gave a small, confused laugh. This is about saving your life. She shook her head. No, this is about love. And she stopped. Footsteps passed outside. A cart rolled by. Metal clattered. She lowered her voice further. I raised a selfish man. That from her was shocking enough to steal my breath. You're nervous, I said gently. It's okay. But she looked straight into my eyes, and I realized she wasn't confused. She was confessing last night. She said, he didn't come home. I smiled automatically. Yes, he did. He came in late. No, the word was firm. He came to the hospital, signed papers. Then he left again. My mouth went dry. Told me he was at work. Diane swallowed. I saw him in the parking garage. The beeping grew louder in my ears. He wasn't alone. There are moments when your body understands, before your mind agrees. My fingers went cold. My stomach tightened. He said it was a colleague. She rushed on, but the way she held his arm, that wasn't business. I stared at the ceiling again. Not because I didn't believe her. Because I did. And belief hurt more than doubt. How long have you known? I asked quietly. Her silence answered. Diane. 2 months, she whispered. 2 months. Exactly how long the transplant process had taken. I almost laughed at the symmetry. Why didn't you tell me? Because I needed you, she said, and immediately began crying harder. And that makes me a terrible person. Honesty can be brutal when it finally shows up. She took my hand. I told him to end it. Did he? He said he would. That was not an answer. We both knew it. The door opened behind her. A nurse stepped in with a clipboard. There you are. Diane, we've been looking everywhere. Diane quickly wiped her face. She squeezed my hand once, hard. I am grateful, she whispered. Then she was guided out, and I was left alone with a truth that felt like broken glass inside my chest. I told myself it didn't matter. Affairs happen, weakness happens, but organs are permanent. Sacrifice is permanent. He would remember this forever. He would come back to me because of this. People don't betray someone who saves their mother's life, right? The clock read 9:41 a.m. Still no Marcus. I picked up my phone. 3 messages from him. All sent earlier. Simple, paperwork taking longer. B. Right there. Love you. I stared at the last one for a long time. Love you. 2 words. Sometimes truth, sometimes habits. Sometimes camouflage. I typed back, where are you? Delivered. No reply. 10 minutes passed, then 15. My transport nurse arrived at the door with a wheelchair. Time to go. I looked once more down the hallway. Empty. Marcus always said he'd never miss a moment that mattered. I guess definitions change. They rolled me toward the operating wing. The ceiling lights passed overhead in bright white strips like checkpoints. I couldn't return through. Halfway down the corridor, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Just 1M. The operating room doors swung open. Cold air hit my face first. Not just temperature, the kind of cold that feels emotional, sterile, final. The nurse parked the wheelchair beside a narrow bed, under bright surgical lights. We're going to transfer you now, she said gently. I nodded, but my mind was still stuck on the photo. Marcus. His hand on her waist, his mouth on hers. 8 minutes ago, while I was being rolled toward surgery to save his mother's life. On 3, the nurse said. They lifted me onto the surgical bed. My body moved. My thoughts. DIDN single quotes. T.1 of the staff members asked routine questions, name, date of birth, procedure confirmation, and I answered automatically, like a recording of myself. Inside, something had gone very still. Shock isn't loud, it's silent, it's like all your emotions step back at once and refuse to participate. A man in green scrubs approached the anesthesiologist. Good morning, Alina, I'm Dr. Shah. I'll be with you through the procedure. With me, I repeated faintly. Not my husband. Not my partner. Not the man who said love you like punctuation. With me was now a stranger. He smiled kindly. Any last questions before we begin? Yes. 1,000. But not about the surgery. Has my husband checked in? I asked instead. The nurse glanced at a tablet. I don't see him signed into this wing yet. Yet such a hopeful word. Such a useless one. They began attaching monitors to my chest. Each sticky pad felt like a receipt for a promise I shouldn't be paying. Heard Diane's voice in my memory. I raised a selfish man. I used to think mothers exaggerated their guilt. Now I wondered if they minimized it. My phone was still in my hand. No one had taken it yet. The unknown number stared back at me from the last message thread. I typed, "Who is this?" The typing bubble appeared almost instantly, then stopped, then appeared again. Finally, the reply came. Someone who couldn't watch you walk blind. My pulse jumped on the monitor beside me. Who are you? I typed again. No answer. Instead, another image. This one, older. Marcus, and the same woman at a restaurant. Candle on the table, his hand across hers. Date stamp. 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks. While he was crying in my arms about donor compatibility. While he was calling me his miracle. Phone, please. A nurse said softly. We need to take that now. I hesitated, then placed it in her hand. It felt like surrendering my last witness. Marcus will be here, I heard myself say. I don't know why. Maybe because dignity sometimes needs a script. The anesthesiologist began preparing the IV medication. You'll feel relaxed first, he explained. Then sleepy, relaxed. That felt medically impossible. My chest felt tight, my jaw locked. My thoughts started racing now. Shock cracking open into clarity. A question rose that I couldn't push down anymore. If he's already gone, why am I still giving? Not to Diane. Not to Marcus. To the truth. Why was I still here? Because I said I would be. Because backing out would make me the villain in their story. Because sacrifice had become my identity. Deep breaths, Dr. Shah said. A mask hovered near my face, but hadn't touched yet. Doctor, I said. He paused. Yes, if I say stop right now, what happens? The room shifted slightly. Not physically. Socially. Medically. Legally. You have that right, he said calmly. Up until anesthesia begins. The nurse looked at me carefully now. Not rushed, not annoyed, present. Double quotes. Do you want to stop? She asked. And there it was, the cleanest question anyone had asked. Me in months. Not what should you do? Not what's expected. Not what's noble. What do you want? Marcus's face flashed in my mind. Then the photo. Then Diane crying. Then 6 years of trying to be chosen without asking to be. My lips parted. Footsteps pounded outside the operating room doors. Voices. Urgent. The doors pushed open. Marcus rushed in breathless, still wearing his street clothes under a half-tied visitor gown. "I'm here," he said loudly. Like he was arriving at a performance just before curtain. Our eyes met. For half a second, he looked relieved. Then he saw my face. Something in his expression faltered. He walked closer to the bed, grabbed my hand, too fast, too firm. "I had to handle something," he said. "Paperwork nightmare." I watched him. Really watched him. When trust is gone, observation replaces it. His hair was slightly messed up, his neck's faint red mark near the collarbone. Lipstick doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. "You're late," I said. "I'm here now," he answered quickly. Not apology. Correction. The surgeon entered behind him, checking the clock. "We're on schedule. We need to proceed." Marcus squeezed my hand again. "You're doing the right thing," he said. "The right thing." Funny how betrayal loves moral language. I held his gaze. And for the first time in our entire marriage, I didn't search his face for love. I searched it for truth. I found fear instead. Not fear for me. Fear of consequence. That's when I knew he wasn't sorry. He was cornered, and suddenly, I wasn't sleepy anymore. I was awake in a way I had never been before. I didn't squeeze his hand back. Marcus noticed. Confusion flickered across his face. Quick, nervous, controlled. He leaned closer, like intimacy could still be performed on command. "You okay?" he asked softly. Such a small question, such a dangerous one, because for the first time, I considered answering honestly. "No," I said. It came out steady. Not emotional. That unsettled him more than tears. Would have the surgeon checked the chart at the foot of the bed. "We need to begin anesthesia now," he said. "We're already tight on timing for the recipient prep." Recipient. Not a name. Not Diane. Just a role. Marcus nodded, eagerly like efficiency proved innocence. Yes, let's go ahead," he said. Let single quotes s. He said it like he was donating something. I said again. The room paused. Marcus looked at me. Annoyance just a flash. Then concern mask back on. "Yes, Alina," the surgeon asked. "If I delay, how long before it risks her life?" "Direct and precisa, no drama," he answered with professional honesty. "Hours matter. Days are dangerous. Today is optimal." Optimal. Not only. Marcus cut in quickly. "Why are we talking about delay?" I turned my head slowly toward him. "Because I'm thinking," I said. "I already told you everything's ready," he replied. "All the teams are set. My mom is prepped. Your mom. Not Diane. Not the patient. Ownership language, pressure language. The anesthesiologist didn't move yet. Good doctors sense emotional instability like weather. "Do you need a moment?" he asked me. Marcus answered for me. "She's just nervous." I didn't look at him. "I wasn't talking to you," the doctor said calmly. That was the first time anyone had put Marcus in the background all morning. He stepped back half an inch. Small. But real. "I want 2 minutes alone with my husband," I said. The surgeon studied my face, then nodded. "We'll step outside. Call when ready." The staff filed out. Machines stayed. Lights stayed. Truth stayed. The door closed. Silence expanded. Marcus forced a reassuring smile. "You're scaring me," he said lightly. "Good," I answered. The smile broke. "What's going on?" he asked. I held his gaze. "Who is she?" The blood drained from his face so fast it was almost impressive. "I don't know what you mean." Wrong first move. Deny before delay. Always the tell of the unprepared liar. "The woman in the parking garage," I said, 8 minutes before you came upstairs. His pupils shifted left. Memory access. Panic indexing. Okay, listen. That's not what it looked like. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny. Because betrayal is predictable. "Was it a business meeting with mouth contact?" I asked. "Alina, how long?" His jaw tightened, so that was confirmation. "Don't do this right now," he said quietly. "Not today. Today. Not never. Timing objection. Second tell. How long?" I repeated. He exhaled through his nose. 3 months, he said. Truth arrives when lies get too expensive. 3 months. Exactly the timeline of Diane's decline. My testing. My matching. My sacrifice arc. "Does she know?" I asked. No, what? That I'm giving your mother my kidney while you sleep with her. He flinched so. Yes, lower your voice, he snapped softly. Authority, tone. Control, reflex. Amazing how fast love switches. Uniforms, do you love her? I asked. He hesitated. Too long. Yes, he said finally, then rushed. But it's complicated. Love is never complicated when it's loyal, only when it's divided. Does my mother know you know? He asked suddenly. There it was. Not remorse. Damage management. Yes, I said. That surprised him. She told you. He breathed. This morning. He dragged a hand down his face. This is not how this was supposed to happen. There it was again. Not regret, logistics failure. I felt something inside me settle into place, like a verdict. Going to ask you one question, I said. Okay, after today, were you going to leave me? Silence. Eye contact broke. That was the answer. Eventually, he said. Eventually, such a gentle word for abandonment. After she recovered, I asked. He didn't respond. Didn't need to. Yes, I said for him. Alina, I was going to make sure you were taken care of financially, like a dismissed employee, not a wife. A severance package with stitches. I studied this man. I had loved for 6 years, and for the first time, I saw him without history protecting him. He wasn't a monster. Monsters are dramatic. He was worse. He was ordinary and selfish, which is far more common. Say it, I told him. Say what? Say, I was going to let you cut yourself open for my family while I planned my exit. He swallowed. Couldn't say it. Truth spoken aloud has weight liars can't lift. A knock came at the door. Everything okay? The surgeon called. Marcus leaned in urgently. Don't do anything impulsive, he whispered. We'll talk after. After? He still thought there was an after that belonged to him. I looked at the door, then back at him. Then at the machines. Then at my own hands. My BAFTA, my choice. For the first time in years, those words felt real. I pressed the call button beside the bed. I said clearly. The door opened. The team stepped back in. Marcus straightened. Performance mode ready. I spoke before anyone else could. I'm not canceling, I said. Marcus exhaled in visible relief. Then I finished. I'm changing the conditions. Now everyone was listening, especially him. I'm changing the conditions. You could feel the sentence land. Not loudly, but heavily. The surgeon paused midst. The anesthesiologist looked from me to Marcus and back again. Even the heart monitor seemed louder, like it wanted to witness the moment properly. Marcus gave a tight, nervous laugh. What does that mean? He asked. This isn't a contract negotiation. I turned my head slowly toward him. Everything is a contract, I said. Some are just signed with trust instead of paper. The surgeon stepped closer to the bed. His tone stayed professional, but more attentive now. Alina, I need clarity, he said. Are you proceeding with the donation today? Yes, I answered. Marcus let out a breath again, but it was too early. I am proceeding, I continued. But my husband is no longer my medical proxy, emergency contact, or legal decision maker in anything related to this surgery or my recovery. Marcus blinked. What? The surgeon nodded once, like this was fully within bounds. That is absolutely your right. We can update that immediately. Who would you like assigned instead? I'll name one of the hospital legal officers temporarily, I said, and after surgery, I'll update it permanently. Marcus stepped closer. Alina, you're overreacting. I didn't raise my voice. I haven't started reacting yet, I said. That line cut cleaner than shouting ever could. A nurse rolled in a small workstation tablet. We can process the change right now, she said. I just need verbal confirmation and signature. Marcus looked around the room like he expected someone to restore his authority. No one did. Hospitals run on consent, not husbands. You're seriously doing this now? He asked me under his breath. Yes, I said, because now is when I learned who you are. He tried a softer approach, emotional pivot. Don't punish my mother for my mistakes. There it was. Weaponized guilt. I'm not, I replied calmly. I'm protecting myself from yours. The nurse read the form aloud. I confirmed. I signed with a slightly shaking hand, not from doubt, but from adrenaline clarity. Every letter of my name felt like reclaiming territory. Done, updated, she said. Marcus stepped back like he'd been physically moved. You're unbelievable, he muttered. No, I said quietly. I was unbelievable when I didn't see you. The anesthesiologist checked his watch. We do need to proceed. One more thing, I said. Now Marcus actually groaned. What now? I ignored him. I looked at the surgeon. I want it documented on record that this donation is voluntary and not connected to marital status, family obligation, or future caregiving expectations. The surgeon gave a small, approving nod. That's wise. We'll include it. Marcus stared at me like a stranger had replaced his wife. Maybe one had. You're making this ugly, he said. I met his eyes. No, I answered. I'm making this accurate. The nurse finished. Typing, recorded. A strange calm spread through me then. Not happiness, not relief. Alignment. For months, maybe years, my inside and outside had been negotiating with each other. Now they agreed. The surgeon clapped, his hands lightly once reset signal. All right, we proceed. Marcus tried one last reach, literally. He touched my arm. Elena, please. I looked at his hand until he removed it. Sit, I said. He sat. Obedience looked strange on someone who thought they were in charge. The anesthesiologist stepped forward with the 4 syringe. Medication will start now. I nodded, but before he pushed it, I spoke again. After the surgery, I said, eyes still on Marcus, you will not be there when I wake up. He frowned. Of course I will. No, I said, you won't. You can't control that. I held his gaze. Watch me. The nurse beside him shifted. Sir, if the patient does not request you in recovery, access can be restricted. He looked at her like she'd broken some unwritten social law. This is my wife, she answered evenly. This is her body. Clean, final, undebatable. I almost smiled. He leaned forward, voice low and urgent. We can fix this. No, I said. You can't fix what you planned. I didn't plan it like this. I tilted my head slightly. I know, I said. That's the problem. The anesthetic entered the IV. Cold spread up my arm like liquid winter. Feel it quickly, the doctor said gently. I did. Edges softened. Sounds widened, but my focus stayed locked. Bacchus, blurry at the edges now, still looked like he expected. This too passed like a storm. He still thought time forgave everything. It DOESN single quotes. It only reveals what survives truth. My eyelids grew heavy. But I had one more move. I turned slightly toward the nurse, the woman scheduled to receive this kidney. I asked, has she been told yet who the donor is? Marcus answered too fast. Of course. The nurse checked the file. No, donor identity is still marked private unless you authorize disclosure. I smiled faintly. Keep it private, I whispered. Marcus's head snapped toward her. Why would you? I looked at him one last time through the blur. Because gratitude should be clean, I said, not manipulated. His mouth opened. No words came out. In time, darkness began closing in from the corners of my vision. Not scary. Just deep. Just quiet. Just earned. Last thing I heard before sleep took me was the steady rhythm of the monitor and the surgeon's voice. Let's begin. And for the first time since I agreed to the donation, I knew exactly why I was doing it. Not for marriage. Not for approval. Not for redemption. For myself, because who I am does not change just because who he is finally showed. Black. Stillness. Silence. Surgery began. Waking up from anesthesia doesn't feel like opening your eyes. It feels like swimming upward through heavy water. Sound arrives first. A distant beeping, soft footsteps, fabric, moving. Then weight. My body felt like gravity had doubled overnight. My mouth was dry. My thoughts were slow but not confused, just delayed, like they had to pass through fog before reaching me. I tried to move. Pain answered. Immediately. Deep, controlled, surgical, easy, a voice said near my left side. You're in recovery. Recovery. The word felt ironic. I opened my eyes halfway. Light blurred into shape. A curtain, a monitor, a chair. Not Marcus. Good. A nurse leaned into view, different from the earlier one. Older. Calm eyes. Experience written in posture. Hi Elena. Surgery went well, she said. Kidney function established quickly. Textbook. I gave the smallest nod I could manage. My throat burned when I tried to speak. She noticed and held a sponge swab to my lips. Don't rush talking, she said. You've been under 4 hours. Hours, a whole emotional lifetime ago. Recipient, I managed. Stable, she said. Very stable. Good. And strangely, I meant that without bitterness. Pain doesn't cancel character. It clarifies it. What time is it? I whispered. 6:40 p.m. Morning to evening. Gone. My old marriage existed this morning. It didn't tonight. Who's listed for visitor access? I asked. She checked the tablet. No family authorized yet. Just hospital proxy and legal. Perfect. Marcus had obeyed one instruction at least, or been blocked successfully. Phone? I asked. Not yet. Soon. My eyes closed again, but this time not from drugs, from processing. Memory replayed in clean cuts. The photo, the confession, the condition change. His face when control left him. People think heartbreak is explosive. It's not. It's administrative. Decision. After decision after decision. Footsteps approached quickly outside my bay. Urgent. Male voice, arguing, I'm her husband. This is ridiculous. You can't keep me out. Marcus, even drugged, I recognized the rhythm of his frustration. The nurse didn't even roll her eyes, which meant she'd handled hundreds like him. She pressed a quiet button near the bedrail. Security protocol, I guessed. I'll handle that, she said softly to me. You don't have to, I whispered. She smiled slightly. I know, but I want to. She stepped away. The curtain muted the confrontation but didn't erase it. I have rights, Marcus insisted outside. A second voice, firm, neutral, not without patient authorization. I was here this morning, and you're not authorized tonight. Pause. Then lower, angrier. Did she say that? Yes. Silence hit like a dropped curtain. Truth lands heavier when spoken by strangers. His footsteps didn't leave right away. He stood there. Processing loss of access. The one currency he never imagined running out of. Eventually retreat. Sound faded. Strangely, I didn't feel triumph. Just confirmation. Control had changed hands back to the correct owner. Me. The nurse returned a few minutes later. Handled. She said, thank you. He'll try again tomorrow, she added calmly. They always do. Tomorrow I'll have a lawyer, I whispered. Her eyebrow lifted slightly. Good, she said. Time passed in drifting pockets. Pain medication adjusted the edges but not the awareness. I stayed present intentionally. I didn't want emotional anesthesia anymore. Later, a soft knock came. Different energy. Not force. Request. A hospital legal officer stepped in suit. Badge, tablet, Ms. Hart. I'm assigned as your temporary medical proxy per your request. I just need post-op confirmation. I nodded weakly. Confirmed. Also, he said, scrolling, you received flowers. That surprised me. From who? No card, he said. Delivered during surgery. Interesting. Hold them, I said. Don't bring them in yet. He nodded. Smart man. No questions asked. After he left, I drifted again, not into sleep, but into memory sorting. I reviewed my marriage-like case evidence. Instead of nostalgia. Patterns appeared instantly when emotions stepped aside. Late nights, increasing phone, turned face down more often. Affection replaced with efficiency, guilt disguised as kindness. It was all there. I just wasn't ready to prosecute yet. Around 8 p.m., the curtain moved again. This time, Diane. Pale. Weak. Alive. Her steps were slow, assisted by a walker and a nurse behind her. Her eyes found me and filled immediately. Not polite tears, broken ones. They said I could only stay 1 minute, she whispered. I nodded slightly. 1 minute was enough for truth now. She reached the bedside and touched my hand carefully, reverently, like it was made of glass. I know, she said. Know what? My voice was thin. What he did, she answered. So he'd been discovered or confessed. Good. I'm not here as his mother, she said. I'm here as the woman who is alive because of you. There was no manipulation in her tone now. No evaluation. No hierarchy. Just humility. Rest, I whispered. She shook her head. No, listen. The nurse behind her checked the time but allowed it. I changed my will this afternoon, Diane said quietly. That cut through the medication haze fast. What? He is no longer primary beneficiary. I stared at her. You shouldn't make decisions post-anesthesia, I murmured. She almost smiled. I made it before surgery, she said, just in case I didn't wake up. Oh, that landed differently. I saw him today, she continued, with her. Not just once, not misunderstanding, truth. I said nothing. Truth didn't need commentary anymore. He chose wrong, she said simply. Yes, I answered. He always has when it comes to character. It surprised me. Parents rarely say that out loud. The nurse tapped her watch gently. Time. Diane squeezed my fingers. You gave me life, she whispered. I will not let him take yours. Then she stepped back. Not dramatic. Not performative. Certain. And for the first time since I met her, I believed her completely. The curtain closed. Again. Machines kept beeping. Pain kept pulsing. But something inside me felt structurally reinforced, like emotional bone had set properly. Betrayal didn't break me, identified me. And recovery, real recovery, had just started. The first night after surgery teaches you what pain really is. Not the sharp kind, not the dramatic kind, the slow, deep, internal ache that reminds you every breath that something inside you is missing and healing at the same time. Sleep came in fragments. 20 minutes. 30. Wait. Adjust. Breathe. Repeat. Each time I opened my eyes, the room felt slightly more real, and my old life felt slightly less. Around midnight, the nurse helped me sit up a few inches. It felt like lifting a building. Small movements prevent bigger problems, she said. Recovery is like truth, uncomfortable but necessary. Any calls? I asked. Your husband has tried 4 times, she said neutrally. Denied each time. No emotional garnish. Just data. Anyone else? She checked. 1 unknown caller. Didn't leave a message. Unknown. My mind went back to the photos. The parking garage. The restaurant. You deserve to know. My anonymous messenger. Next time they call, I said quietly, let it through. She studied my face, measuring stability, then nodded once. All right. Pain medication flowed again through the IV. Not enough to erase, just enough to soften. Good. I didn't want numb, I wanted present. At 1:12 a.m., the phone at the nurse's station rang. I saw her glance toward me. She answered. Pause. Double quotes. Yes, she's awake intermittently. Pause. I'll ask. She covered the receiver with her hand. Unknown. Caller again. I nodded. She brought the cordless phone over and placed it gently against my ear. Didn't speak first. Neither did they. Breathing. Female. Young. Nervous. I wasn't sure you'd take this. The voice said, you sent the photos. I answered. Double quotes. Yes. Who are you? A long exhale. My name is Leela. The name landed without recognition, but not without weight. And you are? I prompted. Another pause. Then the truth arrived clean. I'm the woman he's been seeing. No stutter, no excuse, just fact. Oddly, my heart rate didn't spike. My monitor stayed steady. Grief had already done its loud part earlier today. Now came clarity. Why did you send them? I asked. Because he lied, she said, to both of us. Details matter. How? I asked. He told me you were separated, she replied. Legally, emotionally, everything. He said the marriage was paperwork only. I almost smiled. Marcus, consistent in cowardice. And you believed him? I asked. At first, she said. Then I noticed something. What? He never stayed overnight. Patterns exposed liars faster than evidence. Today I followed him, she continued. I thought he was coming to tell you the truth. I let that sit. He was coming upstairs to watch you give his mother a kidney, she said quietly, and still planned to keep lying. Yes, I said. That sounds accurate. I couldn't let that happen, she said. Not like that. There was no triumph in her voice. Only disgust, mostly at him. Why call now? I asked. Because I ended it, she said, that I hadn't expected when I asked. In the parking garage, right after the photo. Timeline clicked into place. Did he try to stop you? I asked. Yes. Did he say he loved you? A small, broken laugh. He says love like a tool, she answered, not like a truth. Accurate again. Why tell me all this? I asked. Because you should hear it from someone who isn't him, she said. And because I need you to know I didn't know about the transplant. If I had, I would have told you sooner. I believed her. Not emotionally. Structurally. Her sentences had accountability, not self-defense. Are you safe? She asked me. Interesting. Double quotes. Yes, I said. I am now. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know. I answered, and meant it. Apologies don't fix betrayal, but sincere ones restore balance. I won't contact you again, she said. You deserved truth. Thank you, I said, and surprised myself again, because it was genuine. The call ended. The nurse took the phone back without curiosity. Professional grace is underrated. Well, she asked gently. The other woman has better character than my husband, I said. She snorted once, Happens more than you'd think. I believed that too. Around 3 a.m., pain woke me fully. No drifting, no fog dot. No fog dot, just intensity. Healing hurts, growth hurts, detachment hurts. But none of it felt confusing anymore. That was new. At 6:30 a.m., shift change energy filled the corridor. Brighter voices, faster steps, coffee breath, and clipped updates. Morning nurse introduced herself. Jordan, efficient, warm, observant. You're trending beautifully, she said, checking numbers, both kidneys, your remaining and the transplant, showing excellent response. I nodded. Can I walk today? I asked. Jot, she smiled. You're ambitious. I'm done lying down for people who don't stand up for me. She laughed. We'll get you up by noon. Good. Movement is power. After betrayal. At 8:10 a.m., Diane requested permission to visit again. I approved. This time she came in a wheelchair, color slightly better, eyes much clearer, no nurse hovering now, just distance monitoring. That's a good sign, I said. So is this, she replied, and handed me an envelope. Legal paper, already notarized. You'll read it later, she said. Not now. What is it? My revised estate directive. Direct. Decisive. Irreversible. You didn't have to. Yes, she said firmly. I did. I studied her face. No manipulation. No leverage. Just moral correction. He came to my room last night, she added. I wasn't surprised, he cried. She said. Was even less surprised. Did you believe him? I asked. No, she answered. For the first time in his life, I didn't. That mattered more than the will. Parents withdrawing blind defense is the true consequence. Selfish son's fear. He will come for you again, she said quietly. I know. What will you do? I didn't hesitate. Finish what I started, I said. And what is that? Choosing myself. Her eyes shone. Good, she whispered. Outside the room. I saw him briefly through the corridor window. Marcus. Same clothes as yesterday. Same posture of entitlement. But now, no access. No authority. No audience. He wasn't a husband anymore. He was a visitor without permission. And that is a very small role. The next morning began with sunlight instead of monitors. For the first time since the surgery, I woke before the machines did. No panic. No confusion. Just a steady awareness of where I was and who I was becoming. Pain was still there, but it had changed shape. It no longer felt like injury. It felt like healing under construction. Jordan came in at 7:10 with coffee. I wasn't allowed to drink, and a grin. I trusted. Good news first, she said. Your labs look excellent. Kidney function stable, both yours and hers. Relief slid through me quietly. Diane. Alive. Stabilizing. Adjusting. Bad news, I asked. You're officially strong enough to deal with paperwork. I groaned. She laughed. Told you, we ease patients back into reality slowly. By 9 a.m., the day turned administrative. Forms. Discharge projections. Medication. Schedules. Movement plans. And one more visitor request. Your mother-in-law wants to see you, Jordan said softly. Only if you're ready. I didn't hesitate. Yes, not because I owed her, because we had unfinished truth between us. They brought her in. By a wheelchair. She looked smaller, not physically, but energetically, like someone who had walked through fire and decided not to pretend otherwise anymore. Her eyes found me immediately. No performance. No dramatics. Just recognition. They told me you're walking, she said. Badly, I replied. That counts. We sat in silence for a moment that didn't feel empty. I know about the hallway, she said at last. Which part? I asked. All of it. So Marcus talked. Good. I'm sorry you had to hear that while you were giving me life, she continued. I'm not, I said calmly. She looked surprised. Truth shouldn't wait for convenient timing, I added. Her mouth curved, approving. Good, she said. Then we won't pretend. She reached into her blanket and handed me a sealed folder. This is executed, she said. Filed yesterday. Inside were legal documents. Property transfer, ownership change, her house, the one Marcus thought he would inherit, reassigned. To me. Fully. Irrevocably. You don't have to, I started. I do, she said sharply. Not as repayment, as correction. I read further. There was a clause. Marcus granted no residency rights, no claim. No override. Clean. Surgical. You're cutting him off, I said quietly. I'm cutting him loose, she replied. Different operation. Emotion tightened my throat. Why me? I asked. Because when tested, she said. You chose sacrifice without audience. Then she leaned closer. And because, when betrayed, you chose clarity instead of collapse, that landed deep. I won't let him pressure you, she added. He's already tried. I know. Her eyes sharpened. He contacted the bank, tried to move funds from my recovery account. I stared at her. He failed, she said, because I changed authorization to 2 signatures only, mine and yours. Mine, trust written, not spoken. He underestimated you, I said. He misunderstood you, she corrected Baffa. We spoke another 20 minutes about logistics, recovery, medication, follow-ups, but beneath it all ran a stronger current. Alliance. Not in-law obligation. Chosen alignment. When she left, I felt steadier, like the ground beneath my future had been reinforced at noon. Carla Ruiz, her attorney, arrived. Efficient woman, sharp eyes, no wasted syllables. I prefer direct communication, she said. So, I'll be direct, please, I replied. Your husband is preparing a narrative. I almost smiled. Of course he is. He's telling mutual contacts. You're emotionally unstable after surgery and being manipulated into financial decisions. Predictable. Outdated. I felt almost bored. Documentation defeats narrative, she continued, placing copies on the tray table. Everything signed, time-stamped, witnessed, control through paperwork. My language. I also recommend you file separation before he does, she added. Why? Because first filing frames the legal tone. Architects call it foundation control. Same principle. I will, I said. She nodded once, approval, not sympathy. All prepared drafts. Thank you. After she left, I finally opened Marcus's latest voicemail. I put it on speaker. His voice came through, strained and theatrical. Everyone is turning you against me. My mom, lawyers, whoever else you dragged into this. This isn't who you are. You're not ruthless. I paused it there. Ruthless. Interesting word men use when women stop absorbing damage. I deleted the message. At 2:30 p.m., Lila texted. Not apology. Not explanation. A single line. I didn't know about the surgery until after. I'm sorry you were hurt. Passive voice. The coward's grammar. I typed back. You didn't hurt me. You revealed him. No reply came. That chapter closed itself by evening. I walked the hallway again. Longer this time. 40-3 steps. Halfway down, I passed a waiting area where a young couple sat, holding hands, afraid, hopeful, united. I didn't envy them. I respected what they still had, and I respected what I had gained. Clarity is more valuable than comfort. Back in my room, I opened my aunt's inheritance documents again, this time fully present. Properties. One of them caught my eye. A mixed-use building downtown, half renovated, half empty. Potential. Vision, space. Future headquarters for something not yet named. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Alina Hart, I said. Ms. Hart, this is Dr. Chen from Transplant Follow-Up, the voice said. I wanted you to know, your donor match will likely give Diane another 20 years. 20 years. Time is the rarest currency. Thank you, I said quietly. When the call ended, I didn't feel used. I felt invested in the right direction. Night settled softly, no storms. No dread, just a strange, new feeling, momentum. The morning sunlight broke through my window gently, almost ceremoniously. Recovery had transformed into movement, clarity, and decisions. I no longer felt trapped in the hospital, or in a marriage built on lies. Every inch of pain, every tear shed quietly during surgery, every sleepless night, it had been worth this moment of power, of self-possession. Marcus appeared again, as predictably as clockwork, but this time he was no longer permitted access. He stood outside the hospital room, shifting from foot to foot like a man who had suddenly learned that life doesn't revolve around him. Security stood discreetly nearby, prepared to escort him out if he tried to overstep. Please, I said softly from the bed, don't make this harder than it already is. He stopped abruptly, like my words had physical weight. Alina, I can explain. I know what you wanted to explain. I interrupted, my voice steady, controlled, but it's too late. Not because the surgery is over, but because I see clearly now who you are, and what I am not willing to accept anymore. He swallowed. No excuses, no apologies, just the empty weight of consequence. I didn't expect this, he admitted finally. I thought I had time. Yes, I said. You did, and you wasted it. Marcus turned away, frustrated, defeated. his presence finally rendered powerless. The hospital staff, previously background actors in this drama, remained calm, professional, unobtrusive. They understood that some battles are personal, fought not with weapons but with boundaries. By mid-morning, Diane was transferred to a step-down recovery room. She waved at me from the wheelchair, her expression soft and grateful. I waved back, not as a subordinate, not as a martyr, but as a woman who had chosen truth and strength. After Diane left, I walked the hall alone. Each step was deliberate, measured. 45 steps down the corridor. 50. By the time I returned to my room, I felt stronger than I had in years. Jordan smiled at me. "You're healing fast, physically and otherwise." "I am," I replied, "and I intend to stay that way." At noon, the envelope from my Aunt Margaret waited on the table. I opened it fully this time. Inside were more than documents, letters, guidance, encouragement. She had written as if she had seen every struggle I would endure, and every decision I would need to make. Her words were a blueprint for independence, financial, emotional, and moral. I read the instructions for managing the downtown property. An entrepreneurial vision emerged in my mind. I could see it clearly, a space that combined architecture, community, and creativity. For the first time, I allowed myself to imagine a future entirely my own. Later, Marcus attempted one final attempt via text. "Please, Alina, let's talk. We can fix this." I stared at the message for a moment. No rage, no desire to respond, just recognition. I typed a single word, "goodbye," and deleted the thread. The remaining days of recovery were calm. The hospital became less a place of sacrifice and more a place of transformation. Diane thrived. My body healed. My mind cleared. Lila never contacted me again, but the truth she revealed became a permanent shield, protecting me from returning shadows. When discharge day arrived, I walked out of the hospital with a small bag, my body still tender, my mind fully awake. Diane waved from the window, security nodded, and the city outside shimmered with possibility. I called a lawyer to finalize separation papers. I scheduled meetings to manage my new inheritance. I even began drafting plans for the downtown property. My vision, my rules, every decision belonged to me now, and somewhere deep inside, a small, quiet satisfaction rested. Not revenge, not victory, not anger, just a steady, unshakable truth. I had given life to someone else, faced betrayal, and emerged unbroken, stronger, smarter, free. For the first time in years, I walked without looking back. No one could touch my resolve. No one could dictate my future, and no one would ever make me sacrifice my clarity for anyone's convenience. Again, the city lights began to glitter as evening fell. I smiled faintly, inhaling the crisp air, knowing that the next chapter would be mine to write without compromise, without fear, without betrayal. The kidney saved a life, my courage saved me, and the rest was mine.